Hey Rasmanites, what's going on? As I said in the last tagged video, today's episode is the first of 2 video responses in a row to my buddy Civilian Snowman, aka Jack Ross. Today's episode focuses on his first question, which was, all of us in the YouTube film community, if we were to make a film, what would our film be like? So, I answer that question today on the Rise Man's Reality. So what indeed would a film by the Raz Man be like? Well, the first thing you're probably asking yourself is, if I were to make a film, would I actually use my nickname? And the answer to that question is, if I could get away with it, I definitely would, because I actually have the Raz Man copyrighted. A buddy of mine named Monty, who lives here in Ohio, he actually helped me copyright the name so that no one could take it from me. And so yeah, I plan to brand the name much the way that Sean McLean has branded the name Zarin here on YouTube and Twitter and Ustream and Stickcam and everywhere else he is. He has trademarked that name of Zarin, and I plan to do the same with the Razman. So absolutely, if I made a film and I could get away with being myself, I would. And if a studio liked my film, they would obviously take me for everything I was, so the name would go along with it. As far as what it would be like, well, as Jack himself knows, but none of the rest of you do, I'm currently working on a novel, which is a cross between science fiction and fantasy, and it's a twist on both worlds. It mixes the 2 worlds together, and it centers around an alien invasion, but it's an alien invasion in a way you've never seen before. So, as far as what the project would look like if it was made into a film, well, for me, I can't really narrow it down to one thing or the other, because I've shot different things over the years, as I mentioned in the tag video, and you guys just haven't seen them yet because of the format that they're all currently on. But it depends on what you're shooting. If I was shooting my sci-fi fantasy, I would shoot it from the standpoint of a Ridley Scott, because I'm an extremely visual guy and I like character-driven emotion. So it would be very Blade Runner-esque. You would definitely see some Blade Runner influences in there, as well as some Josh Whedon influences, because he's also a very visual guy, and he also does something similar to Kevin Smith, in that he has the same crew with him every time he shot. I like to work with people that I trust, so I would definitely try to be Josh Whedon / Kevin Smith-esque in that respect. Lighting wise, I've always liked Stanley Kubrick. He has a real grasp on lighting and how to use lighting to your advantage. As far as setting up the shots, I don't think there's anybody better, or will ever be anybody better, than Steven Spielberg. So I would try to set up my shots like Steven Spielberg. Cinematography wise, like I said, it would be Ridley Scott, Josh Whedon, and it would also be guys like Michael Mann. Even though I'm not a big fan of his film, my films tend to be very Michael Mann like, or excuse me, got a little frog in my throat there. They tend to be very Michael Mann-esque, or even James Cameron-esque if you look at stuff like District 9. Not necessarily Titanic, because Titanic is a romantic comedy. It wouldn't fit in a sci-fi fantasy. But if you're shooting something simple, like say a public service announcement, then you want realism, and so you go with the lighting that's given to you on the day you shoot at. And I think that's the key with any project, is you have to pay attention to A, what your target demographic is for your shot, and B, the time of day you're shooting at, the type of people you're working with. So I don't think you can really determine how a film is going to turn out until you actually do it. But yeah, as far as major influences, Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, Ridley Scott, Joss Whedon, Kevin Smith. Those would be the 5 guys, and Stanley Kubrick. Those would be the 6 guys that I most look up to and most inspire me to want to get into this business. So I guess those are the guys that would bleed into my work most of all. So Jack, I hope I answered your question. Couldn't really show any clips or anything because all my stuff is on VHS, but hopefully I answered your question. If you guys haven't seen that video, because as far as I know at the time of making this episode, I'm the only one to have responded to Jack's question, and I think it may have gotten lost because he put it at the end of his Cornwall Yuki blog that he did. So I'm going to post the link over here in my description box to the right. If you're so inclined, by all means, post your own video response to Jack's brilliant question. As always, this is reality according to the Razman and Razman style. It's not just a catchphrase, but a way of life.